Unthinkable things that happened to Catherine Parr. Nurse, queen, widow, and the one who actually survived Henry VIII. Oh, honey, if you think marrying Henry VIII was a death sentence, you're not wrong. But one woman actually survived it. Enter Catherine Parr. Not the sex symbol, not the tragic teen, not the beheaded scandal. No, Catherine was the sixth and final wife, the one who played chess while everyone else was still figuring out checkers. She was brilliant, bookish, brave, and somehow managed to outwit a man who literally executed half his wives. But don't get too comfortable, because surviving Henry was just the start of her trauma. Let's talk about Catherine Parr. Queen, author, nurse, and the one whose happily ever after ended with betrayal, heartbreak, and one final unthinkable twist. Part 1. Before the Crown and Before the Drama. Catherine wasn't born to be queen, she was born to be clever. Daughter of Sir Thomas Parr and Maud Green, she was educated, poised, and raised with more books than ball gowns. Unlike most Tudor girls, Catherine could read Latin and debate theology before she could legally drink wine. Iconic. And by the time she caught Henry's eye, she was already a two-time widow, which in Tudor England made her mature, aka about 30, and depressingly available. She didn't want to marry Henry, she was in love with Thomas Seymour, the hot, reckless brother of Jane Seymour. But when the King of England slides a ring across the table, you don't exactly swipe left. So, in 1543, Catherine Parr became wife number 6. Cue the danger music. Part 2. Queen, Caretaker, and Crisis Manager. Catherine wasn't just a wife. She was a full-time nurse, therapist, tutor, and HR manager to a monarch in physical and emotional decline. Henry had a festering leg ulcer, a short temper, a waistline expanding faster than the national debt, and a tendency to execute people who made him feel insecure. And yet, Catherine handled it. She dressed his wounds, read him Bible verses, and kept him calm while the court descended into chaos. She also became a stepmother to 3 royal children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward, and unlike most stepmothers in history, they actually liked her. Especially Elizabeth, who finally had a queen who valued intelligence, not just appearances. But don't be fooled. It wasn't all warm firesides and moral support. The danger was still very real. Part 3. Catherine versus the Heresy Squad. Catherine Parr had a passion for religion, specifically the Protestant side of things, and this made her a walking, talking heresy risk. She published 2 books, one while queen, including Lamentation of a Sinner, which was basically how to be a Reformation girl boss in a Catholic world. This made her a target. Yes, the same man she was spoon-feeding broth to while changing his bandages was about to burn her at the stake. But Catherine was smarter than all of them. She played dumb. She cried. She told Henry she was just a simple woman discussing religion to distract him from his pain. She basically gaslit the king into thinking she was harmless, and he bought it. The arrest was cancelled, and when the Lord Chancellor showed up the next day with armed guards, Henry shouted him out of the room. Part 4. Widow. Again. And freedom. Briefly. Henry VIII died in 1547, shocking no one. Catherine was now 35, a 4-time widow, a survivor of royal marriage, and finally free. And she wasted no time. She married Thomas Seymour, the bad boy she'd loved before Henry, and this time she did it on her own terms. No royal permission, no council input, just a thank you next to the patriarchy. But oh dear, this is where the happiness sours. Part 5. The final betrayal. Catherine finally got what she'd always wanted. A passionate marriage, a home of her own, and then, at long last, a baby. Yes, after a lifetime of stepmothering and loss, she gave birth to a daughter, Mary Seymour, in 1548. But her happiness was short-lived. Catherine died days later, likely from childbed fever, an infection that took more women than war ever could. She was 36 years old. And Thomas Seymour turned out to be a walking disaster. He flirted with the teenage Princess Elizabeth while Catherine was still alive. Historians have debated just how far it went, but whether creepy or criminal, it was disgusting. After Catherine's death, Seymour tried to seize power by marrying Elizabeth and manipulating young Edward VI. He ended up executed for treason a year later. Their daughter Mary disappeared from the historical record, likely died young. Another unmarked casualty of Tudor drama. The survivor who deserved better. Catherine Parr was the only wife who outlived Henry, but that doesn't mean she got a happy ending. She was intelligent, resilient, politically savvy, and emotionally exhausted by the time freedom finally arrived. She saved Elizabeth, protected Mary, helped Edward, defied arrest, wrote best-selling religious texts and kept her head while others literally lost theirs. And what did she get in return? One more toxic man, one more betrayal, and one final grave.